All right, and welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trade. Today is Monday, September 26, 2022. If you got tons already, give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. By the way, we'll be doing the review webinar this Sunday, this coming Sunday at 12 p.m. It's going to be on the cycles course. If you haven't signed up for that, I encourage you to do so. If you already attended the last one, you'll automatically be included in this one. Going to go over a lot of stuff in there, lots of eye-opening material. Just ask anybody who has taken it. Anyways, spiders here, down 75 basis points for the day. A little bit of a retrace kind of to the lows of last week. And I would call it more of a, if we take a look at the daily here, I'd call this a little bit more of kind of like a test candle, really, than anything. I know the market's down. It looks like we're getting beaten down pretty good. You know, we are down a little bit, to be fair. But to me, this is more of a test candle than like a real sell here. And part of that is take a look at the volume. So at about it's 3:39 p.m. right now. We're at not even at 70 million shares traded on the spiders. So we're not seeing heavy volume. And really just kind of looks like, you know, a lazy kind of test candle. Another reason is, look at the triple Qs here. They're only down 20 basis points. So, you know, the NASDAQ's leading right now. The NASDAQ was actually green a few minutes ago. So NASDAQ green, it doesn't really seem like a, you know, a broad-based kind of like decline, like where there's, you know, real conviction, conviction selling. It looks just more like a test candle to me. Volume is light. And I think that we're kind of close to a possible little short squeeze here, and I know I kind of touched on this last week. You know, we're kind of into support, but we do have the SPY. Looking at iBorrow desk here on my other screen, and the SPY short interest is getting very, very low, or I should say very high. There's not many shares available to borrow right now, only 350,000 right now currently. So there's a lot of people shorting basically at the lows, which, you know how that tends to work out. We are into support, we're into a gap. Another reason I think we might not pierce, now we could pierce double bottom. I wouldn't rule that out, you know, maybe one little flush out, but everybody's kind of looking at double bottom right now, right? And if you're like a market maker, you want to rug pull, like if you're short right now, like let's say you've been short, you know, you short up here, you shorted here, whatever. So you're significantly in the money, right? Are you going to really be greedy for another 2 more points on the spiders, or would you rather cover now and just lock it in? You know, that's kind of the way I would look at it. And as a market maker, everybody's like looking at that double bottom, waiting for the pierce. If they rug pull it right beforehand, you know, that's, you can kind of bag the most people and kind of induce a squeeze there. At least that's the way I look at it. Again, I wouldn't rule out a pierce. It's definitely possible, but right now I'm kind of leaning more towards, you know, either way we're going to bounce, but I'm kind of leaning more towards, you know, maybe we squeeze up tomorrow, or maybe we gap up tomorrow. We're actually getting a little bit of a bid here. There's a little inside bar on the Qs and spiders on the 10-minute you can see here going into the close. So maybe we pop up into the close here. That again kind of supports my theory. Would you, you know, the low here is 362.17. The low of the day today on the SPY was 363.03. For another 90 cents or so, are you going to really risk, you know, losing profits if you're short? I'd rather just bag it right now. If that's just me looking at it. But anyways, you know, volume light, we're in a double bottom regardless. We filled the gap there. Obviously the Qs filled the gap on Friday, so we're into support, and there's a lot of shorting going on into the hole. And we talked about Friday, or excuse me, it was actually over the weekend video. You know, and I'm sure everybody's seen it by now, but you know, there's record put buying on Friday, you know, a new all-time high. So I mean, we're set up for a bounce here. That's basically really the long and short of it. Russell 2000 here also getting into double bottom. A lot of things basically just kind of testing. This is leading to the downside though, so that is a little more bearish. You know, you don't want to see small caps leading to the downside, but the NASDAQ is up, so kind of a split tape there as far as risk on, risk off is concerned. But again, low volume here, a low volume test of double bottom. Usually you're going to get that to hold up. There is also a little bit of a cycle pivot I have this week. It's not a major one, but it should give us at least a bounce for, I think, for the next week or so. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards right now. But, you know, we'll see how it plays out. We have to actually get the bounce first before we can talk about, whether or not it's actually going to happen here. But targets on the upside, maybe around 380, 382. There's your first level of resistance, and then above that's 390. That's where we're looking on the SPYs. For your short-term targets, if we were to push up, there's also the gap fill there at around 375. That would be a little bit more minor, if you ask me. Maybe more of a day trading short scalp level there. But in any case, market's trying to hang in there. We're kind of chopping around. We'll see what we do into the close. Maybe they push us down into the close. And try to get as many as more shorts on board as they can. But either way, I'm still kind of in the camp that we are set up at least for a squeeze here in the near term. Anyways, let's get over to some sectors here. Semiconductors into double bottom on Friday, basically just retesting the lows today. Nothing's really changed. You're in a double bottom there, oversold. So this should, probabilities dictate this should get a bounce. IGV also basically testing the lows of Friday as well. Again, nothing's really changed here. Still a pretty good bear base on the weekly, though. I like that bear base there on IGV. So this could be a short on any sort of strength here moving forward. Biotech also weak. Again, still testing the lows of Friday, but you still have a fair amount of support right in the 74 handle, 74, 74.50 on XBI. Dow Transports here. Again, same thing. Little retest candle of Friday's lows. This has been a leader to the downside. Any bounce should take you up to about 12,800, maybe 13K on the DJT. Interest rates today, 10-year soaring up 4.9%, 30-year up 2.38. Let me get up my yields charts here for you, or yield curves, I should say. There we go. So this is the 3-month. So the 3-month is actually gaining a little bit on the 10-year. You can see that's not it. There we go. So 3-month 10-year is actually getting a little bit of a retrace here, and you're back above that 50 moving average. So that is a little bit of a positive here for the market. Your target would probably be right around that 80% area, or 80 basis points area, 20 MA, 200 MA convergence. So if it does continue up, that's where would likely stall out. However, 2s and 10s still inverted by 42 bips. 5s and 30s now 45, almost 46 bips. And 10s and 30s almost 20 bips inverted. So the 3-month 10-year is getting reprieve, but the other ones are getting worse, really. 5s and 30s, 10s and 30s specifically. So definitely watching that moving forward. And again, the Fed has to catch up to the 2-year, and that's really kind of the bottom line right now. And the 2-year is still trading lower. So, we talked about that last week. The Fed funds rate increase really doesn't amount to a hill of beans when the 2-year is moving up 75 basis points every 2 weeks. It's like, it's a complete waste at this point. But anyways, let's move on here. Home builders, XHB, right into that area, the 54 area. It's testing that right now. We'll see if that holds. You also have a pivot right below that. So anywhere in this 54 handle range should be decent support for XHB. ITB, which was green on Friday, now red today. Again, testing that 5150 area. So that was your breakout. Again, the same pivot right there. So that should be support as well. VNQ, which got absolutely bludgeoned last week, got hit even harder today, down 2.31%. This may be a little bit of a low here. I had this going down to about 79, and I didn't think we would get there today. We almost got to, we basically got to 80, so we got pretty close. This is really oversold. I think this can get up back up to 87 or so on a bounce, maybe 90 if it really squeezes. But I did have a downside target about 79, 80 bucks, and we basically got there today. So this one may have put in a significant low here. Would like to see a little bit heavier volume, but this is way, way oversold. It's basically gotten to my target, though, all things considered. Financials kind of leading to the downside a little bit here, although they did come off the lows into double bottom, and that's part of the reason why the spiders are down more than the Qs. So fins and really energy kind of dragging down the S&P as opposed to the NASDAQ, which is holding up a little bit better. But again, double bottom here on XLF, same kind of thing as every other chart here. And a double bottoms testing that area. Broker dealers also making new daily chart lows. But again, still a decent amount of support here in 410, considering how oversold you are. Ultimately, it's going back to 400, though. All right, speaking of energy, so crude here dip, continuing to dip. I would love for this to get, you guys know I've been saying it for a long time, like way back in March even, saying this is not a buy here. Buy it sub 85, maybe 75. I would love for this to get down to 75 tomorrow and test that lower trend line. It's, getting oversold here. I like the little bear base, little breakdown, rollover. I'd love it in this area. So I'll be looking for that. I already do own a little bit of UCO currently with Carnivore trades, but I would love to add to it tomorrow, or really on any weakness here. I love it in this range here. So crude setting up with a good opportunity. XLE, I'm getting hit today, down 2%. There is a little bit of a gap here at 67.30 and change 67.40. Ultimately, it does look like it wants to test that that double bottom there around 65 again. XOP also down as well, down just under 3%. Again, that looks like it's headed for that 110 handle. And OIH, same thing. So this looks like it wants to go and test that pivot as well. There's still a good amount of support here, and it is really oversold, but that is a power gap down. So got to be careful with those. That suggests that there is velocity behind it. So be careful with OIH here. Nat gas, I did not get into this. It got into the kind of buy zone here. I was looking for a move down closer to 630, 635, which is this yellow trend line, but didn't quite get there. It's getting a bounce. I do not like it anymore at 630 because we've already bounced too much. But we'll see what we can get. Maybe it can get back up to 750, maybe even 775. Maybe even this trend line again. I wouldn't rule that out here, but I do not like it at that yellow trend line anymore, as we've already bounced too much. Dollar index. So dollar does have some short-term resistance around 114. It is pulling back off of that. And obviously everybody's talking about the pound. So the pound last night. This is a fake print here. Down to basically 96. The actual low was 1.0375, I believe. So this is a fake print. So that would be interesting. I asked around. I didn't get it. I don't believe too many other people got it on there outside of Thinkorswim. So it's on Thinkorswim, but it's not on TradingView, and it's not on pretty much any other brokerage. And if you do have it on your other brokerages, let me know, because that would be a point of interest for sure, because a lot of the times these fake prints play out. But if it's only on one brokerage, it might just be, isolated to that broker. But the pound absolutely getting crushed here. And obviously that has a hand in pushing the dollar up. Ultimately, the dollar probably wants to get to 119, but it does have some short-term resistance at 114. So we'll keep an eye on that. Gold here coming down again. I'd love it. Let's get another dip. Let's get another little sell-off. I love a panic sell-off here. Sentiment's getting bad. People don't hate it yet, but they strongly dislike it. And when they start to hate it and we get into some levels, I will be buying with both hands. But gold getting hit. I do like GDX in this area here. Falling wedge pierce. A lot of the time you get these falling wedges, you get a fake breakdown, then you get a move in the opposite direction. And if we get that squeeze that I was talking about in the spiders and the Qs, well, it's likely going to give GDX a lift, as well as they've basically been positively correlated as of late. But overall, I do like GDX in this area. I did sell the second part of my SLV trade. We took a small gain on that. We made a nice chunk on the first half, but I don't like it right now because you have a failed inside bar here on the daily. And this was a really nice pattern, really crisp pattern, and you had a good failure there. Trend is down. We have the trend is down. Sometimes these inside bars can fail, and I do not like failed patterns. So I'm going to reevaluate silver here. If it makes new lows, it makes new lows. I'll buy it lower. I don't think it has that much downside in it, but we'll wait and see here. So silver getting hit. I do not like that inside bar failure, though. Platinum kind of stalling out here. Again, we'll have to see kind of pattern on this one. We had a lot of velocity behind that sell Friday, so I need to see a little bit more here if I'm going to play this one again. But I've already played it twice this year for nice gains both times, so we'll be patient with that one. Palladium, a little bit of a nothing burger today, and copper continuing lower, so this has got to really hold this 330 area. Otherwise, it's back down to the lows on copper futures. And then cryptos here, so just quickly cover the coins. So not a whole lot going on. Bitcoin is green in a down market, so maybe a small little sign of strength. Ether, same thing, up in a down market. You do have kind of like a micro little inside bar there on both Bitcoin and Ether, so maybe you can get a little bit of a bid here, but the big picture is still big bearish consolidation on the bigger time frames. So definitely have to respect that. All right. So market's closing in about 7 minutes here. It's 3:53. Let's take a look here at the spiders. Yeah, so we might get a little bit of a push up here in the last 10 minutes again. Maybe they take us down tomorrow and pierce that double bottom. Either way, I still think this market is set up for a squeeze, at least in the short term for the next week or so. And then we could be headed lower here again towards the election. Anyways, guys, going to wrap it up here. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. Sign up for the cycles course. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.